So Greg basically is also in War Room, which is digital marketers highest level mastermind, which Ralph and I are members of. And he's obviously, you hear the accent. Ralph, if you don't know, I mean, I'm sorry, Greg, if you don't know who he is, he's from Australia, and he can give you his little background if he wants. But basically, has a similar path as us, where he had an agency where were doing everything from traffic and conversion, managing traffic campaigns, managing design, website design, you name it. And now they focus mostly on coaching and helping people with just conversion optimization, driving traffic into their funnel, optimizing their the whole 9 yards. Okay, this webinar is around maximizing website visitor value, but I mean, Greg is um, he's an expert at traffic. He's an expert at conversion. He's an expert at web design. He's got a lot of experience in like the info marketing side of business, but also in the e-commerce side of the world too. So for those of you that are in e-commerce, feel free to shoot any questions you have. He's got full presentations on that, even though we're not going to be
Yeah.
touching on that as much today. But if you
And
do
if you
have
want,
questions on, yeah, go ahead.
we can always come back and do another session where we do a deep dive on e-commerce because we're working with 20 or 30 e-commerce stores, at any one time and figuring a whole bunch of stuff out. And we just did a session, a traffic and conversion summit recently that was really well received, which was the profit tree out of e-commerce. So if you've got folks that are interested in that, we're happy to come back and help again at some stage down the track if it's of value.
Okay, cool, very cool. Um, okay, awesome. So, well, I think let's get right into it. First of all, thanks a lot for doing this. I appreciate it. Um, Time zones are tough, but let's go ahead and get right into it. So, cool.
All right, cool. Excellent, excellent. Well, so this session is really about how to maximize website visitor value, and we'll define what website visitor value is in a moment. So I spoke a little bit about we're not really going to go a deep dive into e-commerce because it's sort of like its own beast in itself. So what we're really covering is sort of your main authority type site, whether it's your blog site or the site for your business, that kind of thing, and we can do e-commerce at a later date. But we do have some e-commerce elements in here. What we're talking about is, as business owners and entrepreneurs, obviously we need to create rapport, we need to build value for our prospects, but ultimately we need to turn them from leads and prospects into customers, and then we need to obviously monetize them as well as possible. I used to be a conversion rate optimization guy. That was my main stick. That's what I used to be. And then over time, I really learned about customer value optimization, and which is really about how to maximize a relationship with the client, but also how to pull maximum money out of that relationship while creating amazing value as well. And Keith mentioned earlier that we used to run an agency, and we did that for about 6 years. We were very much a leading direct response marketing agency, in this country, and a lot of multimillionaire type people as our clients. So we got to see behind the scenes of a lot of businesses. During that time, we managed over 5 million in clicks, a lot of Google AdWords, and a lot of Facebook. We did a lot of media buys with banners, etc. So a whole range of traffic and a whole range of conversions. So we did over 400 split tests, and during that time, and I'll show you the results of like some of the design decisions that we make now, as a result of that stuff. And then we were just doing purely agency, but then what we weren't enjoying, personally about that was if you pulled me out of the business, then the business would die off or slow down. I guess is probably a better wording for it. So that's why we morphed to more of a coaching model. And I know Keith and Ralph, they're big believers in this as well, where if you can educate the business owner that you're working with as well as do stuff together, then it's a much better result. So we're really liking that. We sort of do a bit of a done with you type model now in this thing called the collective, and those guys are going great, growing anywhere up to 10 times a year. We've really got focused on, you see there my title, Digital Marketing Profit Strategist. So I used to be really focused all about sales, and now I'm a lot more focused on profit. And I've done a lot of work in the financial IQ state area recently, and one thing that I really learned in that space was, profit is actually only a theory and cash is the fact. So you really want to be building cash in your business. That's what we focus on. So let's dive right into it now with visitor value. What you're going to find is we're going to cover a whole bunch of things really fast, and like I said, happy to come back at any time, as many times as you guys want to go deep dive in anything, because to increase visitor value, and here's the formula for visitor value. It's actually the number of sales, times the price of those sales. So in brackets, you do that bit first, divided by the number of unique visitors, and that gives you what each visitor to your website is worth. And obviously, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we know we want to get our visitor value up, and you can see this, within Google Analytics if you've got e-commerce tracking on and that kind of stuff. But sometimes what we found actually is it's not always easy to see your visitor value figure. So it might be really, really easy if you're an e-commerce store, because you can say, I sold that widget, for $6, that widget for $60, that widget for $600, that kind of thing, and it all added up as this, and that was the number of, visitors that I had. But what about if you're doing a services business and what you're really after is leads, and which is a lot of businesses, that's the real thing. So it's not always as easy to see the visitor value. So just bear that in mind as to as we get through this. So remember I said I used to be a conversion optimization expert, and now I'm all about customer value optimization. One of the things we've found with working in over 300 businesses now is that everyone wants to focus on the traffic first. Let's ramp up the traffic. Let's ramp up the traffic. Let's ramp up the traffic. That kind of thing. But what we've found is it actually makes sense to increase the conversion of the website, of the landing pages, and you'll see sort of a little bit of a system about going about this, as we get into it. And why it makes sense to increase the conversion first is because every time you can increase the conversion rate, so say for example if you can double the conversion rate of your landing page, you can halve your cost per lead, and it also means you can get double the amount of leads for the same cost as what you were initially. So sometimes it's worth just stopping what you're doing or slowing down what you're doing, really optimizing what you've got going, and then ramping it up. It's not the way people want to do it, but sometimes what we want and what we need can be two completely different things. So it's just do the conversion optimization piece first, and then scale the traffic once you're on a winner. So we've got this saying that's run your winners long and cut your losers short, and that's really served us well. And we say our actual run your winners long, cut your losers short, and enjoy the journey. Which, because we look at all marketing is really just an experiment. Sometimes, like I had this, I was working with this e-commerce store this week, and he was sending me these emails saying, my Google Shopping's not working, that was like the emotions of his emails. And I wrote back to him and I said, let's get on a call, but talk about it. But basically remove the emotion from it, and analyze the campaign. And all we got to do is, decrease your costs, increase the conversion, tweak it and tune it, and make it work. And then when we actually got into Google Analytics, he was actually doubling his money with his Google Shopping anyway. He just didn't really know how to read the facts, was the way it worked out. But long way of saying, increase our conversion first, and then we'll crank our traffic from there. And one thing we've found is that not all customers and not all sales are equal. So if on your site, say for example, if you've got a 25 grand coaching course, with coaching program, which has an inquiry process, and you've also got a 2 grand course, and you've also got a $5 tripwire and a $200 course, then not all those things are equal. If you needed to earn 100 grand as a hypothetical figure, obviously you only need 4 of the coaching people, but you'd need a lot more of the little ones. So not all pages, should be treated equal on your site when we get into this optimization stuff, and not all customers, all customer paths should be treated equal. So I think you will have all heard of the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 principle. We do make all our business decisions, based off this. So what are the 20% of things that are going to give us 80% of the results? And that also relates back to your site as well. So what are the 20% of pages that are going to give you 80% of results? But often the 80-20 is fractal as well, meaning that there's an 80-20 within the 80-20. And often if you look at a business or if you look at a website, often there's like 3, 4, 5 main pages that result in in more sales and everything else. I've got one customer I'll show you coming up. This was a business that we doubled in 5 months and we tripled in 12 months, and then maxed out their capacity. They're currently working on ways of getting more production capacity in the yoga teacher training market, and 95% of the revenue comes through one sales page. And we do like Google AdWords to one really, really optimized sales page to and then remarketing and nurture sequence and all that kind of stuff. So most of our optimization efforts actually happen on that one page. So it shows you don't need to do it. You don't need to do this stuff everywhere. Actually, this is the example. So what we need to do is identify money pages on your site. So what are the pages on your site that are going to bring in leads that you can ultimately turn into sales calls and or progress them through your sales process, or where they can buy straight away. But we want to focus on those big heavy hitters, not treat everything the same. Does that make sense, Keith and Ralph? Looks like you might be on mute. No problems. So I'll go through the details of this, a bit of this page and what's happening a little bit later. So, but you want to think about, if you think about your website now, what are your main couple money pages? And think about optimizing those rather than optimizing everything.
Hey, Greg, it makes absolute sense. I was saying lots of brilliant things, but I was muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
That's all right. I got no doubt you were. I got no doubt you were. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just making sure that I was making sense. Okay, cool. And then the other thing that we really think about is every single page on your site, whether it's a home page, a category page, a product page, a blog page, what is the primary course of action that you want the site visitor to take on that page? And is there a secondary, and is there a third? And then have you designed the page around that so that it's really, really obvious this is the primary, this is the secondary, this is the third? And they may choose whichever one they want, but just asking yourself that question, what is the primary course of action that I want them to take on this page, and have I designed the page around that primary course of action? And you'll see primary courses of action as we get into examples in a moment. Okay, so let's look at some of the design best practices. I'm just going to show you some examples based off over 400 split tests we've done over the years, and over 5 million in clicks where we've managed it and tracked and measured. What happens if we move the inquiry form here? What happens if we change the color of the button? What happens if we change the wording on the button? What happens if we tweak the headlines? What about this design versus that design? Video versus no video? Navigation versus no navigation? Logo versus no logo? All that kind of stuff. And then much more complicated things. We'll get into the different types of testing in a moment, but what happens if we now rotate in and out these 16 different design elements, and then we send a couple 100,000 clicks at it, and then come up with the ultimate version of this page? And that's like something that we've done in the weight loss in the weight loss space before. That's really, really worked well. But let's look at some best design practices based off basically a truckload of split tests. So we'll break it down into different areas of the site. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So we'll talk about homepage design. So homepage design, things you want to think about. So obviously, what's the primary course of action of the site is important. But the first thing when they first really get to your website is they're not making a buying decision. They're making a will I stay or will I go decision. So you basically have to meet what I call the 5-second rule, or the 10-second rule, which is, within 5 to 10 seconds, can they get, what it's about? So here in this page, this is an example of my main authority site. Probably a little bit blurry, this screenshot, but up the top it says, the Collective Digital Marketing Mastermind, and then it's got a positioning statement here which they can get in a couple of seconds. Internet marketing, mastermind coaching for business owners and entrepreneurs, everything you need to double your business using digital marketing. And if they wanted to see more about that, you can see I've got the play button very prominent. If I click on that, what it does is it does a light box. I should have put a screenshot on there, and basically what it does is it hides the rest of the screen, makes it dark, and there's a video that plays, and it explains in 2 minutes kind of what we do. But so you've got to think about that for your business. Are you meeting the 5-second rule or the 10-second rule, with that? Other things that are going on, so obviously navigation, above the fold, so it's really, really required from a usability point of view, but also from a Google compliance point of view. So Google wants to see navigation above the fold. Google wants to see, a logo, and ideally in that top left. People are now trained to, click on that top left and use that as a home to get back. Not everyone, but people, I think, are getting it. You'll also see here 2 different levels of navigation, layers of navigation. So one's where like a primary nav, and then one's an admin type nav. And so what's great about that is you can put your main products and services on the first navigation on the main navigation, and up the top you can cover things like, you know, contact us and testimonials and that kind of stuff, like members login, so more admin type thing. You also need to think about how eyeballs work. So we've done a lot of eyeball tracking using different things, and we know that their eyes start up the top left and they navigate down and right and down and right, down and right, that kind of thing. So your most important pages in your menu navigation, you want to put them as close over to the left, you know, near your logo as possible. Okay, and then we also think, you know, on this page about primary calls to action. So the inquire now up in the top right, the purpose of it is that they can inquire now. It pops up to a light box, and then ask them a couple questions, and they can inquire about becoming, you know, a member of the collective, that kind of thing. But then we've also got, you'll see a hello bar over the top, which is that big green bar, and it says, you know, copy the world's best Facebook ads, get your Facebook ads, swipe file, click here. And that clicks, if they click there, you know, that goes off to a landing page that converts at 42% day in, day out, and had a couple thousand people go through it. So they do two completely different things. One is just for getting people onto my database, and the other one is for people who are interested in, you know, our high-level coaching. But then you'll see down below where it says SEO has changed, that's really, you know, straight into blog content. So why I'm doing that, and I never used to, was to make the site more sticky so that people come back more often and check. Also better from an SEO point of view as well, where if the homepage is regularly updating and changing, Google likes that. And you can see as well on the right-hand side, so Digital Marketing Summit, which is an event we run every year, so that's another call to action. So you can see from a call to action point of view, there's actually a couple in here, but from a hierarchy, you can see all my things in green are my calls to action. We've tested a whole bunch of different button colors, you know, from green and yellow and red, blue, etc. Some people found red converted better, but that certainly hasn't been the case for us. We found that green really works best for us, and I think, you know, because even if you ask my 6-year-old, now he's 7, he turned 7 today, yeah, that what does green mean? And he says green means go, you know, from the traffic lights. So even we've been programmed with that right since we're little, so it really, really works. When we're designing, you know, sites, and when we're designing e-commerce stores and that, we'll do like go forward buttons as green. We might have secondary colors as yellow, and then we might have admin or go back type colors as gray. They're there if they need them, but we're not really asking them to do that. So that's an example of, you know, one homepage. So here's another one which has a primary and a secondary call to action. So what's going on here, you know, in this profitable hospitality site? So again, we're meeting that 5 or 10 second rule with management and marketing resources for restaurants, cafes, clubs, and hotels. And then you'll see a primary call to action of get started now, and a secondary call to action of learn more. So if you'd heard in the industry about, you know, the profitable hospitality membership, and you were ready to get started, you could click straight on that. But if you weren't sure really what it was about, then you click on Learn More, and that will take you off to a page that, you know, explained all about it. You'll also see in the menu that we've got Get Started there is green. So again, we're doing, you know, making it really, really obvious, because we know that they're not always going to be on the home page. So that's why we've done it that way. And you'll see the hello bar over the top as well. This hello bar actually isn't converting as well as when we had like a light box pop up that popped up after they'd been on the site 20 or 30 seconds, something. The other, that pop-up one, resulted in roughly double the amount of leads. So we're probably going to go back to that, or we may end up keeping a bit of both of it. And then you'll also see in that header bar, you'll see some main benefit statements. Again, that's working for our 5 or 10 second rule. You know, get more customers, reduce your operating expenses, manage your staff and team. So that's really just helping them to communicate, you know, exactly what it is. So. And then here's another example. We're doing this a lot now with home pages. There's lots of things going on here. I won't go into the navigation. We've sort of spoken, you know, about that. What you will see though with this site, where I think it's more effective than some of the others, where we've had those big sliders. The other thing we've noticed about sliders is actually having multiple sliders slide through decreases conversion. So if you are going to do that, you're better off just have one. If you can state it in one, you're better off to do that. Then we used to have 5 or 6 sliders on everything, and now we only ever do one, or we go to these what we call junction boxes. So here, if you take this Upfront Communications, they're a corporate training company. everything they do can be divided down into 6 categories. You know, is it presentation skills training, customer service training, etc. So what we've done is taken that, like what would normally be a big slider section, and broken them up into still visually appealing junction boxes. I don't think these sites look as beautiful, but it's certainly very, very effective. Because one thing we do know as well is every time we make them do another click, you lose up to 50% of them. So we definitely don't want them making too many clicks. So this is really great because they can get straight into, for example, the presentation skills training category. From there's 3 different courses they can choose from, and then boom, they're straight away. So they're 2 clicks to the exact course that they're looking for. The other thing that's going, really, really well. So this business, we've grown over 600% since we've been working with them. Combination of, really what it is a thing called what we call relevance plus direct response. So it's a relevant ad to the keyword. So if they're searching for presentation skills training, in Google, we're showing an ad that's relevant to that, and then we're 100% relevant to that, and then we're showing them a page which is 100% relevant about presentation skills training, good sales copy on it, etc. I think I'll show you an example of one later, and then it's got a direct response component on it, meaning that they can easily click there to call or they can inquire. So that concept of relevance plus direct response, it's resulted in more money for our clients than anything else that we've done. So it's really, really a crucial concept. The other thing that's going on here that maybe doesn't seem significant initially is see down the bottom where we say some industry leaders we work with. So what the real gem of that has been is now they're just attracting more and more big clients. Because say, for example, you are a big car manufacturer, you're the human resources manager for, I don't know what the name of it is. Actually, I don't know the name of any American car company. Say Chevrolet.
Ford Motor Company or
yeah, Ford Motor Company. Yeah, exactly. So you could see, well, if these guys already do, if they already do Honda and they do Audi, which is another big international brand, and Slater and Gordon, PricewaterhouseCoopers, you already know that they play at the right level. And oh yeah, it looks like they would be able to roll out across all our campuses and that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're just scoring big deal after big deal after big deal, and some of that's really coming about, because of the social proof stuff that we've done on this site. It's just been an absolute machine. All right, so that's a bit about homepage design. So now let's look at category page design. And so category page is sort of like this, where I think you've all been there at the supermarket and you're just looking at, well, which one do I choose, that kind of thing. So we want to make it really, really easy. Category page and homepage can be a little bit merged together these days. So see here, if we go back one, Upfront Communications, their homepage design actually works like a category page design as well, because it's got junction boxes that sends them off into the different directions. But let's look at some other examples of category page design. So here again in that yoga teacher training space. So see the question up the top, which yoga teacher training is right for me? And then we've got images that signify the different levels of training that they've got. Because we're trying to use visual cues. Wherever possible, we want to use images that complement the wording that's on the page, because we know from a neurolinguistic programming point of view that some people are going to get messages with visual cues, and some with auditory, and some, from reading, that kind of thing. So wherever we can use multiple medias, we definitely do that. So like it says there, level 1 yoga teacher training 200, the foundation level for all yoga teacher training, or then the next one's like the 500 level, the advanced level for the serious practitioner or teacher, and then they can choose whichever one works for them. So this has been a very, very effective page for that business. But here's another way of breaking it up into, if you think about the site visitor, they don't actually care about you at all. What they care about is their WIFM, the what's in it for me. So this one does a great job of that, where we're saying, so these guys, they help with with children and with people that have got whether it's issues with their brain, issues with their memory, mental health type stuff. So they're saying conditions we can help. We can provide you and your loved one assistance in many areas. Please choose your situation or condition below for how we can help. So if you had a child with ADHD, you would definitely, click on that. If you had Asperger's, you'd click on that. So it's really, breaking it around about the problems that are solved, not just the services that are offered. Because that's one of the things we see over and over and over again, where everyone's written their website sales copy about us, but it's not really about us. It's about the benefits that our product or service can provide to you. And because what we do know from selling point of view is if we sell with features, that's okay. If we sell with benefits, that's better. And if we can sell with the emotions that those benefits bring, then then we're really, really onto a winner there. And then so here's an example in the e-commerce space as well, where we're still doing this category page type design. And this is if they've clicked guitars here, and there's the six main categories. And again, one click to get exactly where they want to go, and then down below it, is normal e-commerce store. But as a general rule, what we can see is that people are clicking, on these categories. Okay, so we've now spoken about homepage. We've spoken about category page. Let's look at service or product page design. So your main products or services, and I think we're going to focus more on services pages in this instance. So this was the example before that we told you about, where this is the main money page. 95% of the revenue of the business, maybe a little bit over 90% of the revenue of the business, and the profit really comes from this one page. It's the one course. If you want to become a yoga teacher, trainer, this is the course you need to do. It's called a 200-hour, and you basically, here you go away to Bali for a month. It's like a working holiday, but it's an amazing experience. So when I first got involved here, we really focused on here. So I wrote this, headline and subheadline that are benefit ridden. So it's not just, become a yoga teacher. That's what it used to be, and now it's like transform your mind, your body, and your life with Santosha's yoga teacher training immersive experience. What if you had a chance to seize an opportunity that would change your life forever? And so it's really like hitting them at a different level, going for the emotion. And then the video here, it's only 2 minutes, but it takes them on a journey. And what it's doing is it's future pacing them. So it's showing them what it's like to be there on location in Bali with all these amazing people, going through this experience. And then from a calls to action point of view, over on the right hand side, you can see how much this is all happening above the fold, meaning before they scroll down. So that's a golden design rule. We want our calls to action above the fold before they scroll down. So you can see over on the right hand side where we're saying this is the course, this is when it's on, here's where it is, and then do you want to enroll now? That's the primary course of action we want to see. There, inquire now, that's the secondary call to action, and that's been really, really big. And then down there it says, or further details if you want to see, exactly what's going on after that. I'll see whether I've got any examples. Maybe I don't. One thing that as well that was really, really a big aha from, on this page was the enroll now. It's like a $3,000 course or whatever, $2,500 course to go away there for the month. We gave 3 main payment options, right? One which was secure my place deposit, $350 they secure it, and then they settle it 7 days from the start of the course. And then there was a payment plan option, so you could divide it up over 3 payments. And then there was the whole enchilada, we called it, pay now. Keith or Ralph, put you on the spot. Any guesses as to which worked best out of
that? Oh man,
loaded question.
So you had to pay up front was the third option, pay all up front, or you had the
So the first option was secure my place deposit, $350. You secured your place on there and you settle it. You settle your remaining funds the week before. Then there was a payment plan, and then there was a whole enchilada. Just pay the whole thing now.
Wow.
Have a guess. It doesn't matter which one you choose.
It's the last one because of what you're saying, but I would think that I don't know, actually maybe secure my spot, but
So secure my place deposit doubled the amount of orders. And then we doubled, yeah. So we did a whole bunch of things that doubled the amount of orders. Adding that secure my place deposit when you're selling a big ticket item is just an absolute gem, because then you follow them up with the phone, you touch base, you talk to them on a
I
human
love it.
level and that kind of stuff as
They
well.
don't.
So it's really, really good.
Yeah, that's kind of what okay, yeah, and I wonder, um, most people don't do that. They just have the two options, right?
Mm,
And so with the secure my
yeah,
place, it doesn't feel as permanent.
yeah. And but at a psychological level, they know, oh
Committed.
yes, I'm on it, and they've put enough money in that they're going forward.
Love
And
that.
they've now
Doubled
got,
conversions. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, doubled conversions. There was other things that we did on here. So we added Inquire Now, that doubled conversion as well, because we added a nurture sequence behind it, and then also we added a phone step, where people were were calling in. Another thing that we did with a doubled conversion again was adding this video. When this page didn't have the video that took them on the emotional journey, the page sort of bombed. So we did a whole bunch of things, and then just like a really, really good Google AdWords campaign, and then a really, really good remarketing campaign that ties back to emotional nurture, because this course is like absolutely incredible. You see people talking about it after they've been back, and they change spiritually and all that kind of stuff. So we got videos of them, people talking about that. And then if they hit the page but they didn't inquire or they didn't buy, then what we did was we gave them Facebook ads. I think I'll show you those in a minute. And those Facebook ads just said, here's stories from other, people that have been on the
Yep.
course, on the journey. And there was just these, women saying, oh, it changed my life and all that kind of thing. And that just gave us another significant boost again. And now we're just about to do video view ads with Facebook, putting this amazing, powerful video out on Facebook, not asking anything, just saying, just sharing the video. So it's a whole bunch of things happen, but you can see this is just like one main money page. There's a whole bunch of things happening above the fold, and then there's a whole bunch of things that happen below the fold. But I'll show you examples of what I mean by those. So here's another one with the presentation skills training, because I wanted to show you that this optimizing the products and services page can really apply to anything. But again, headline above the fold, subheadline, which is benefit written, inquiries over there. So remember our calls to action. So we want relevance. Like and one page. This is a good point. One page can only be about one thing. So if Google sees a page that's about multiple things, it considers it to be a page about nothing. Unless it's like you can have a categories page and then it links off, but every product or service should have its own page. But here above the fold, we've got request further training info. If they click on that, it pops up to a light box and they can put in their details. That's just been a machine. We're about to test changing the colors to those to be green actually, and to see whether we can get a bump. And then the call us now to speak to an expert member of our team. But then what's going on with a sales copy point of view here? One thing that we really did well, we've got really, really good at for optimizing the customer value on these type of pages is, rather than just writing sales copy, we wrote down, well, what is everything that they really want to know? Well, like what's the course about? What are they going to learn? Who's the trainers? Who's the how much does it cost? Where's it delivered? All those kind of things. So we brainstormed, what is it that they really, really want to know? And then we turned each of those into subheadlines, and then under each subheadline, then we wrote, the bullet points. That's a really, really good hack, as far as if you need to write web copy. And one question that we've asked ourselves over and over again, we learned it during our agency days. We do this for landing page optimization, and we do it for product and service page optimization. It's not really politically correct, but neither am I, so that probably doesn't matter that much. So, but we ask the question of what the heck do they really, really want? And by answering that question and then putting that in the copy or in the headlines and subheadlines, we really, really nailed it. And you can see over there on the right hand side as well, quick links. That's another thing that we added so that they could click. So if you really wanted to know how is the course delivered, boom, you can go straight to that. And we try to get it above the fold if we can, so they can go straight to whatever sections that they want. We also add the call to actions again at the bottom, and we also have related courses or related pages, because we also know that helps your SEO too, because Google looks at scroll rates these days. They look at how long people stay on site and that kind of stuff. So all these things matter. All right, so that's a little bit about, as a high-level view of, what we do to increase visitor value, and really the number of leads, which really results in sales, on some of those main product pages. And then, so blog page design, again, it's really about, primary calls to action. So here's just an example, a screenshot of our blog. So you can see we're using visual cues over on the left just to make the content interesting. And we've got a nice design there with a big image at the top, and then there's other smaller images and that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be done that way. There's multiple ways, of doing it. But what's probably more important is that the calls to action that we want them to take, like Digital Marketing Summit, you want a hand to grow your business, which is basically the inquiry process, a bit about the collective, or grab your free DVD. They're all calls to action that we'd like them to take. They're all available on every page, so it's very, very obvious, and it's very, very easy, for them to get there. And again, it's no accident, with our color, what we've done with them. And you can see, yeah, whether you're on main category page or whether you're actually in the blog, or within a post, those calls to action are always very, very prominent. And remember, the primary course of action of the site, which is that Inquire Now, is actually, on every page. We do see a lot of blogs that don't have visual, images, which I think is just what they call featured images, which I think really is just a mistake, in where we are from a time point of view. People are very visual, the web's very visual, you need to have that stuff on there. And this is not an example of mine, this is from Ryan Dice and those guys, and I know you guys work with them as well. Yeah, so not that I work with them, sorry, but yeah, this is like adding banner ads for your products or services within within your content. So just, disrupting your content for that. We're currently adding banner ads at the bottom now as well of our blog posts to really, drive them where you want to go. So just making each of your content work harder. And I think this is really, really important, especially with the stuff that like you guys have been teaching on your podcast, etc., where you're just really driving, whether it's cold or warm traffic off to really, really good content, and then creating rapport so that they know you, like you, trust you, that kind of thing, and then they're predisposed to, want to do business with you. And these are ways that you can get them to put up their hand, to do business with you. All right, so now let's move on to talk a little bit about, landing page designs. Obviously, this is really, really crucial because this is where we drive our traffic for getting them to, get on our list. But don't get me wrong, these, product pages, these can be landing pages, and Google loves this type of landing page where it's actually built into the site. So you can see this, like where headline, subheadline, video, and calls to action above the fold and within the main navigation, and then sales copy below. That is an absolute machine if you're selling, big ticket items, or you're really after leads, for your business. But traditional landing pages, we used to do a lot like this. If you think back a couple of years ago, where it was just the beautiful visual image, and then the a little bit of sales copy on there and one call to action. What I do love about these is it's a yes or a no decision. Do you want it or don't you want it? What I don't like about them anymore as much is that Google doesn't like them and Facebook doesn't like them as much. So one of the things you'll see with our landing pages, and I'll show you in a moment, like this is one of ours. As soon as we saw Facebook starting to crack down on their compliance stuff, we implemented full Google level compliance across all our Facebook landing pages, across our whole client base. And touch wood, to this date, none of our clients has ever lost a Facebook account. But I think it's because some of them aren't, really scaling. And I know there was a whole bunch of, other reasons why it can happen, different niches and all that kind of stuff. But we have been lucky in that regards.
I should have used that subhead in the webinar. We would have had twice as many members show up to this webinar. What you just said, by the way.
Yeah,
but I'll tell them I'll make sure this is important. Listen up, but I'll make sure and tell people that when we send out the recording, though, because it's true. I mean, there's so many people that are getting their ads shut down, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So
yeah, it's gold. Like I drive traffic on a big scale across, for a lot of people, or with a lot of people, I should say, because I don't just do it all for them anymore. Yeah, and we've had no problems. We get some ads, disapproved and whatever, but we haven't had any accounts banned. Like I said, touch wood. But also, like so I understand you might have hardcore direct responses, listening right now and going, but man, by putting that navigation above the fold, you're killing the conversion, all that kind of stuff. And I may be getting a slight, bump in conversion downwards by doing that. But the thing still converts at 42%, so I'm not really that stressed about it. But it's, it's got navigation above the fold, a bit about us, what others say, so some social proof, the contact us. So that they really, Google and Facebook really love when you're very upfront. There I've got a contact us where they can find more info about it. They've got a phone number, so I'm very, very, upfront about that. Then headline, subheadline, bullets, and an image of what they're going to get above the fold. And then again, green call to action. This one pops up to a light box, and then some sales copy below that. We tested a whole bunch of things with landing pages as well, as far as video versus non-video, and that can go either way. Video versus non-video. It really just comes down to the individual one. Long copy versus short copy, and as a general rule, short copy won with that. For many, many years, our control was headline, subheadline, video, on the left, image, on the right with the call to action button, and then short copy below it. And now this is sort of our control. That's really, really working well. And we're running a split test. You can see at the top, I'm showing one version of the page that shows them what they get in the swipe file, and I'm showing one version of the page that doesn't. And actually, the version that shows them what they get in the Facebook ad swipe file is beating the one that doesn't. And then down the bottom again, you can see, about the author. How can we help? And then again, so very, very well. There's social proof in that. Like I've got a lot of runs on the board now, but we're very, very upfront about how we can help. We're probably over cautious, but I'm a guy who lost his Google AdWords campaign in 2009 and only got it back in 2015. And Google AdWords at the time was the main way I made money. I used to be a super affiliate, and yeah, that's how I lost my ad. Ryan and I lost our AdWords account the same week. It was the way they work out. Ryan Dice. Yeah, so I would rather not have that claim to fame. I'd rather be associated with Ryan in other ways, but certainly not that one. Although we use the same consultant to both get our AdWords account back, so I'm very glad I met him because he put me on to Donovan. Yeah. But then call to action again above the, at the bottom because we know they're going to scroll. But then you'll see I'm over cautious. Like your privacy policy, you need that. But then I've got contact us, about us, earnings disclaimer, and blog. We actually got in trouble from Google recently about our what others say page. We've got this page on our site. If you go to collective.com.au and you see our what others say page, it just goes on and on and on. It's like a best case example of how to do social proof because it just does so much selling for us because there's just like literally, I don't know, maybe there's 50 to 100 people saying, I doubled my business, I tripled my business, we made 200 grand, we made whatever. And so people come to us already wanting to do business with us. But Google made us, even though we had earnings disclaimer at the footer, Google made us put the earnings disclaimer up the top on that individual page, and now they're happy with it. But that's off on a bit of a tangent. But so this is what we're doing on landing pages, and it's really, really rocking. It's really, really working well. And we've had, like I said, we had no dramas. And this is what I was talking about. If they click the button, then it pops up to the light box. We know that if obviously the least number of fields, the better, as far as from an opt-in point of view. And I know that in theory, if I don't capture the first name, if I just go for email, I'll get more leads as well. But I want to treat people the way I want to be treated, and so that's why I want to be able to say, dear Ralph, not just, hey you type stuff. And state, I want that as well because we run events from time to time and that kind of thing. There's other things that are going on here. The product image, is very, very prominent. They can see exactly what they're getting. Up the top, that 50% progress bar, which is showing them that they're already halfway there. And then, obviously the color of the button, and then see even the languaging on that button. It doesn't say download your swipe file. It says download my swipe file, which is gives you another conversion boost because they're not thinking about they're thinking about my. So that was another really, really good one for us. So that's kind of a little bit. Sorry, go for it.
On that? I just took 2 screenshots of that landing page, by the way, because it's so awesome. This part right here is actually something that's really important. Just saying, because we have had a lot of talk about this in Facebook Ads University and in our Facebook group especially, is just telling them what they need to do to get what they're going to get. It's like a really simple thing. Enter your details below and grab your Facebook ad swipe file. If you say, get your free ad swipe file or Facebook ad swipe file, that's actually non-compliant. So it's your wording too, but also the layout of the page, which I just love, and I love the navigation and everything. And I assume you send cold Facebook traffic to this page too as well?
I do, yeah. I've got thousands, maybe 4,000 leads through that page at the moment as we stand.
Awesome.
It's a machine, but I also do like what you guys teach, which is, I've got video view ads, for example, that I'm just nurturing people, putting them straight on my remarketing list, and then they're seeing all my offers too. So I've got thousands of people who are going on the cookie list, that way. But by all means, I think it's a machine, and we've implemented over and over and over again, and it just works. So there's some of the best practices type stuff, and obviously, I've covered a whole bunch of stuff, really, really quickly. But now, how do we optimize this stuff? So one of the things we found is, start with proven templates, on landing pages. So don't reinvent the wheel, So like you could go to collective.com.au and check out that, check out how we've done that Facebook ad swipe file. That's a great spot to start. You may already have something that really kicks ass, and then split test it, run it against that, that kind of thing. Or like within lead pages, you can sort by conversion rate, and also ClickFunnels has just added that in now as well. Only very recently, I think in the last month, where it says top converting, so you can sort by top converting landing pages. The advantages of ClickFunnels over lead pages is lead pages only really has a handful of templates that are Google and Facebook compliant, whereas with ClickFunnels, even if you chose a landing page and it doesn't have the stuff that I just told you that I enforce all my clients to have, then you can add a section at the top that does that. You can add a section in the footer that does that, that kind of thing. So that's why I think these two tools, lead pages is better if you're, not amazing with technology, or you just want to really get stuff up quick and easy. But out of the two, if you're a hardcore, serious direct response marketer, then and you want to create funnel optimization and stuff, then ClickFunnels I think is the superior tool, and it's certainly easier for meeting your compliance type stuff. Other thing is, ensure everything is responsive or mobile optimized. We're certainly just making everything responsive now. We've had really good success for services businesses over the years, though, using direct, mobile optimized sites where it's got a call us button or send us a quick text. See that send us a quick text on, if you're a service business, like here you're a lawn servicing business or whatever, that thing is just a machine. So we've got services businesses that we work with where their homepage of their mobile site converts at 40%. Their homepage, not a landing page, because people are calling them, sending a quick text, or clicking on them to find where they are on the map. It's just amazing. But yeah, so obviously, since the rules changed with Google in April of 2015, you really don't want to have any pages that are not mobile optimized or responsive these days. And obviously, I'm assuming you guys have got a high level of knowledge, but responsive means that the site adjusts depending on the size, of the browser, like that example there on the left. Okay, so then the next thing is to run split tests on your main money pages and landing pages on your site. So remember, initially we spoke about we need to identify what are our main money pages, because often people just decide, well, actually, what most people do is they don't do any split tests at all. So it's easy to outperform the masses just by starting to run split tests. Running split tests used to be really hard, and now it's really easy, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So split test is just talking about, if you've got one version of a page, and then what's something that we could do to change that page to, I wonder whether we could get more sales, or I wonder whether we could get more leads, that kind of thing. So really obvious ones are changing the design from one design to another. That's a big hitter. Other big hitters are, changing the headline and the subheadline. That's a really big hitter. Changing product image can really work. Changing the offer can really matter. And the one that's made the most difference to us recently, like if we look in the last year, is just button text, the stuff that we were talking about before, and those calls to action. Another thing that I've really learned over those 400 split tests as well is the closer you can optimize towards the end of the funnel, like with example, if you're in an e-commerce store, the closer you can optimize towards the checkout, the better, or that kind of thing. It would be 3 or 4 e-commerce stores now I've doubled the sales of and doubled the conversion rate of just with one move, which was changing, optimizing the checkout. Or like, for example, if anyone's doing Magento is it's an amazing big, e-commerce store, but it's just got a pig of a of a checkout module on it by default. I don't know why they've done this. It's if you're happy to check out over these next 8 steps, then this is the best one for you. But you can go to Magento Connect, which is like grab this free plugin from Magento or from a Magento developer called something, one page checkout, be done in less than a day and double the conversion of your standard Magento store and basically double the sales of a standard Magento store and do it in less than like literally a day. It's incredible. So we want to figure out what our main pages are. We don't want to just focus, we don't want to just focus anywhere. There's 2 main types of split testing. So the first one on the left, which most people know about, is A/B split testing, and then we've got multivariate. So let's talk about A/B first. So A/B is where we've got a page and we declare that our control, so we're happy with this page. It's pretty good. But now, what happens if we make another copy of it over to the side, and then we use the split testing software to send half the traffic to the first page and half the traffic to the second page? From a traffic generation point of view, you don't need to do anything. All you got to do is just start, sending traffic to the first page, and it'll start round robining for you. So this is the way most people split test, and it's great. And I actually recommend this for most people because it doesn't require big traffic volumes. It's quite simple to understand that kind of stuff. Professionals, like I said, our agency, we used to be a conversion optimization agency, so we obviously did a lot of multivariate as well. And what multivariate is talking about is where you're rotating in and out multiple elements. Like we used to rotate in and out up to 16 different design elements at one stage to build the ultimate version of this page. So what about which is best out of these 16 different headlines and sub-headlines combinations, or these different calls to action? And so what it does is over time it says, well, out of all those different combos, actually if you use this headline, if you use that sub-headline, and if you use this call to action button, that beats the conversion of all those other things. So you can get answers with multivariate split testing that you can't get with A/B, and you can get there faster, and it's incredible actually if you apply multivariate split testing. We did it in a large weight loss company when we were driving traffic from TV and radio and print media and Facebook ads and Google ads. But we had enormous traffic to work with, and we could learn really, really quickly. If you don't have enormous traffic volumes, multivariate split testing isn't really the right answer for you because it takes too long to get an answer, and you may not ever get there. So, and also, you've got to be a little bit geeky like me. I would say for most people, don't worry about it. Just do A/B split testing, and I'll show you how easy it is to do A/B split testing now. So main ways of running split tests. So with ClickFunnels, up in the top left, you can see they can't make it any easier than that. Start split test, boom, click create variation. So if you've got a main landing page you're driving traffic to and you haven't done this, then go back to ClickFunnels. If you're using that, click create variation and make it. And then what it'll say is, do you want to do it based on the current template, or do you want to do a new template, and that kind of thing. And the easiest one is, say, change the current template and maybe change a headline, the subheadline, that kind of thing. Figure out which one works, and then declare that your control, and then move on from there. So lead pages over here in the top right, you can see it says A/B test. You click on that. Actually, I think I've got an example of how that one works in a moment to show you. Google Analytics content experiments. So that's just a free part of Google Analytics. Allows you to split test up to 6 pages at a time, really run them against each other as an A/B test. It replaced Google Website Optimizer. Google Website Optimizer was a far superior product. It allowed you to do up to 16 tests at a time, which we loved. We're not as big a fan of Google Analytics content experiments, but it does work. And then there's other premium services like Visual Website Optimizer and Optimizely. Visual Website Optimizer can be pretty good where it's like a drag and drop thing. What happens if I move this here? What happens if I move that there? And it'll do that on the fly, that kind of stuff. But for most people with your landing pages, I'd say build your landing pages in ClickFunnels or Lead Pages and use their tools because it's going to be easier. And you're better off with something easier that you do than something more complex that you don't do. So like if you chose Lead Pages here and you clicked on that A/B test, and then it says, okay, you want to make, which do you want to use as a starting point for your new variation? And you can click, like for there, I'll use the original one, or you can create a new template. So it's creating another copy of your landing page. And then from within lead pages, you can say, okay, which one do I want to do? I want to edit the current page, or do I want to edit the variation? And you can make the variation, a little bit different to the main page. So they start running against each other, and then you'll start to see, results like this. So the first one got, 38% conversion, and in this example, the variation one got 36% conversion. So it was a decrease. And I put that screenshot in there on purpose. Like, in theory, I should put a test in there that kicked butt. But the reality is, not all split tests kick butt, even if you've got as much experience in this space as me. But remember, what I was saying earlier about just take the emotion out of it. All marketing is just a test. So just figure out what works and and what doesn't, and run your winners on, cut your losers short. And yeah, so just move on to the next test really, really quickly when you figure out something that's not working. Okay, so other things to look at is heat maps and scroll maps on your site. So here, this shows you on the left, where people are clicking to make sure that they're clicking towards your primary calls to action. And then scroll map shows you, how far down your site are they actually going. Because if your primary call to action is really below, where the people are going, then obviously that can be make a big issue. And so here I've used a tool called crazyegg.com for that, which is from a guy called Neil Patel. So heat maps and scroll maps are a great thing to get going and understanding what's going on with your site. Something a bit more advanced, and we've had great success with as well, is video tracking. So, and also form analytics. So this is using a tool called ClickTail. What it does is it actually starts recording videos of site visitors on your site, shows their mouse, what they did, where they went, what pages they clicked to, and then it'll start to show you heat maps as well. And it'll start to show you conversion funnels of where they, what pages they went to and what pages they didn't, and where they dropped off and where they went, and that kind of stuff. But the video tracking as well, if you've got a conversion problem, putting this on your site for a month and watching back 300 videos of what people did on that page that was a conversion problem, you'll figure it out pretty quick. And form analytics, I don't really ever hear anyone talking about form analytics, but form analytics is gold, if you've got, so say for example, we doubled a hire car company, and I doubled it, well, we went on and did more than that with them, but we doubled this hire car company's bookings just by using form analytics. So, for example, when you're booking out a hire car, you might have 3 or 4 pages that click on to different things, and on about the 3rd page, they were asking this question that the audience sort of thought was too intrusive. They don't need to know that. Why do they need to know that type thing? And by using form analytics, we could see that actually 76% of people got to that field on form number 3 and were leaving. And so we got rid of that one field, and it's like, we doubled that business. And we were only there for 3 weeks, and the guy was saying, "Why are you charging me 12 grand for that? You're only there for 3 weeks, and you leave." And it was like, well, you had a problem, we fixed the problem, and that was what the scope was to do. We knew where to look, that was what the value was. So,
Nice.
yeah, you should have been happy.
Well done.
Yeah. Form analytics, I learned it from a copywriter in Australia, Alexi, just gold, if you've got a complex thing, it's, but yeah, not many people think of it, but great. Also, I know I'm pretty much out of time, so I'll keep moving quickly. But you might think, well, hang on, this was all about visitor value, but some of this stuff isn't what you're necessarily thinking of. But all these things compound together to increase your visitor value. If you don't have enough leads, one thing I've found, a golden rule for me, is add more lead magnets, because you may have one lead magnet that converts at 12%, another one that converts at 20%, and another one that converts at 40%. So yeah, start figuring out which ones are working, get rid of the things that aren't, and you add more and more lead magnets on. Because, for example, in the weight loss space, where we had different lead magnets for mums who wanted to lose post-baby weight, was a different thing to the guy, like me, who wanted to lose beer gut, that kind of stuff. So it was a different lead magnet for the different market. So you can see, again, formulaic. This, all I've done is taken the other one and converted it over to this, and boom, off she goes. Add tripwires, so for acquiring more customers and for monetizing your traffic. So often I'll put a tripwire directly behind, which is a tripwire low-cost irresistible offer. I'll directly put that directly behind a lead magnet. I used to drive traffic directly to tripwires. I don't so much anymore. I do in the jewelry space. That one's really working. But in the info space, I put them behind. It just works out better, bang for the buck. And I also do them with remarketing. I get about 75% of my traffic costs back on day one, which isn't amazing, but it's pretty good, and it's allowing me to scale faster than most right now. We increase order value with order form bumps. So you can see down on the bottom right-hand side where it's saying, yes, I'll take this, one-time offer, fill the holes in the bucket checklist and video for $19, reduced from $49. And our bumps at the moment, we're getting roughly 1 in every 6 people or 5 people taking us up on that. So every person that goes through the funnel is worth an extra $3 on average to us because of that one little checkbox. Doesn't sound amazing, $3, but what it does mean is you're getting most of your traffic, or a lot of your traffic costs back, and you can just scale. I call this perpetual motion. Once you get this whole machine going, there's just amazing perpetual motion. Your business can become, mine at the moment, it's like a freight train. It's so exciting. It just got so much motion. It's incredible. And then so other things, again, increasing our customer value, restating your benefits and reducing, risk on the order form. So you'll see over on the right-hand side what you're going to get, what you're going to discover, what your guarantee is, and then security info. And this is for a free plus shipping offer. You know what I mean? So when we're doing that, and then you'll also see there I've got another bump on that order form as well. We do it slightly now, but that's another restating of the benefits, adding upsells for monetizing that traffic better, after they've come from the free plus shipping. The good thing about upsells like this is just, do they want it or don't they want it, and they can just click yes to add it to their cart. They don't need to check out again. So I love that whole one-click upsell type technology. Add downsells. We first thought about, do we really need to add downsells? But then we found, roughly, again, 1 in about 6 people or 5 people who didn't take the upsell were taking the payment plan option of, instead of doing this, grabbing the 3 payment options of that. So again, just really, really easy. It's a 1-minute video, and just adding, capturing more people and creating more value. We get I can't really barely think of any refunds we get. So we make sure that we always exceed, their expectations as far as value, and that way no one's ever cheesed off. We do a lot of this, adding bundles. So instead of, we're always increasing order value, trying to increase the order value. And we've got a whole system and an architecture, behind that. There's actually 10 levers in every business that we try to pull. And one of them is really increasing the order value. So here, this is actually an e-commerce store. Do you want to just add the earring? Do you just want to get the earrings, or do you want to get the whole matching set and save 15%? So that's gold again for getting that up. So here's another one, which is a tripwire, but with wizard-based selling. Wizard-based selling guides them through which is the right option for them. So here, this is a free plus shipping offer of a snake repeller. They opt in, they get it, they go through that that checkout page, and then it's saying congratulations on your decision to get a snake repeller for your home. And then every property needs a different number of snake repellers, so you select an option that's best for you below. Do you have a small house block, an average house block, a large house block? They choose one, and then it says your personalized snake repeller recommendation based on the info you provided us. You'll need 4 snake repellers to keep your property safe. You already own 1 snake repeller now. Would you like to customize your order by adding 3 more? And so that's working really, really well. Some industries like this, we're completely disrupting the industry by, everyone else is selling, and we're saying, here, grab a free one, and then sending them through a complex funnel like this. And then now they're about to add another step of hitting the phone for those that didn't take the upsell and giving them a consultative sell and giving them a really, really special offer to get them across the line. So that tripwire with wizard-based selling, I don't know anyone else that does that, but it really, really rocks. And then off to the order success. We do laser targeted exit intent offers. So here we're using a thing called opt-in monster, and depending on what pages have they been on the website, and then if they go to exit, we pop them up to an offer. You've got to be really careful you're not doing this on traffic that you've sent from Facebook or from Google, because it's against their terms of service. So we just make sure that it doesn't show on the first impression. If you do it on the second impression, that can really, really work. And I know this seems like a lot of things, but this is the sort of stuff that you need to do to, if you really want to smash it. And then, it's just another example. Then you add email nurture and offers. So this is This is huge, this one all on its own. Imagine you've got 500 people going through your main nurture sequence now, and if you've got 30 touches in there, that's what's that, 500 times, I'm just doing the quick math, times 30. So that's, 15,000 automated touches that happen by writing 30 emails and having 500 people go through it. It's insane the amount of momentum that can give you. And then with this step, we do a combination of give, give, ask, or give, 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 ask. So always, again, the value is in advance of asking for anything in return. That's a machine if you get that bit right. And then this one's just so important, and I know Keith and Ralph, I've learned a lot from you guys in this space. What I call a 95% rule, meaning that only 5% of a maximum are ever going to take action as a general rule. So what do we do to fill the holes in the bucket for the others? And I won't go into this in any depth, but I'll show you what we do. We add Google remarketing, so you can see here a banner of ours, of a client of ours in the corporate jet aviation space. Those guys we sent into meltdown. They had to change their phone system and all that kind of stuff just by doing exactly what we're talking about here, and adding a really, really good AdWords campaign as well. Adding Facebook remarketing. This was the examples I was saying. Hear stories from other yogis who have gone on that journey. This thing's just been a machine. We add dynamic remarketing, so you can see those that ad there for the e-commerce store where they're seeing the products and services that they've done before. We add cart abandonment series for one thing we've found is just one cart abandonment doesn't work, and then so we do a series of 3, and it's well architected, and we get multiple emotions working together, a combination of greed and scarcity, and we compound those together. Wherever you can get multiple emotions compounding together, you really, really get it's like a 1 + 1 = 3 type effect. And then we use remarketing, and we show our funnel to non-buyers as well, like for example on e-commerce stores or on our main authority sites. And then that's just kind of really that's sort of a summary of the main things that we do to increase the value of each customer on websites. So as you can see, some of it's about on-site optimization, but a hell of a lot of it isn't about on-site optimization. A hell of a lot of it's about the overall architecture now, and it really is an architecture. And we like to look at the front end is really for nurture and acquisition, and then the back end is for monetization. So a lot of stuff really, really quickly, and like I said, happy to deep dive on any of it, but hopefully that gives you the overall big picture of how we go about that process.
No, this is
Is that it, Greg? I don't think you gave us enough there, Keith. Holy cow. That's amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I knew you were doing a lot of stuff, but pretty incredible.
You're welcome. Yeah, it gets it really gets a result. Well, with that what we call perpetual motion, where you add this layer, then that layer, then that layer, then that layer, and all of a sudden she just ends up going it's like a snowball going down a hill of whoa. Yeah, so we get customers ring and say, turn the leads off, because their sales team can't handle and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really exciting. I love digital marketing. I'm so passionate about it, and I love working with business owners. For me, it's like a puzzle to solve. And I know the three of us, we have amazing conversations about this stuff, and you guys are amazingly passionate in this space as well. What I love about you two is just so leading edge. I'm always learning from you, so it's awesome.
Yeah, no, this is freaking, I mean, I got some guys this is freakishly smart, freakishly awesome, Clint. Graham English, this stuff is really smart, which that's coming a lot from Graham English. That's saying a lot. You've seen a lot of stuff. What?
He's not too,
he's
one of the leading marketers too, so that's a big compliment.
Yeah. So
thank you.
He said, "Dude, I'm implementing right now."
That's awesome. And speed of implementation is just so crucial. We made a mistake on that really, really early on. Wish that was something that we did better. But talk to your group if there's anything you guys want to deep dive on. Because that was kind of like the fast version of how we optimize stuff. But if you want to go deep in anything, like I said, the offer's there. We're happy to come back and help out anyway.
When I post the recording in the group, we'll start a thread and kind of see if anybody has anything that they like best or want to go deeper on. And we'll have I think if a lot of people realize what you're going to cover there, they would have showed they would not not because we had about probably I don't know. I guess it depends on the members' webinars, but we typically have. I would say we had people are in for Facebook stuff, so they want like the
Yes.
Facebook video ads and stuff. So we might have had 65% of a normal show up for a members webinar
Yep.
because it was like website optimization, right? People, it doesn't sound um,
Yeah.
as hot
So
as
what?
Facebook, especially for new members. We have a lot of new
Mm,
members, and this has been freaking just gold. I mean, this is by far the what he just went through is the like the biggest leverage point that anybody can make on their campaigns without changing one thing
Yeah.
yeah.
to make more profit. So this is awesome.
Well, it's so true. I mean, we talk about, tactics for Facebook a lot on these webinars, but I mean, we're sending traffic to a landing page and to websites, and that is such a huge part of it. And, a lot of people struggle with it, and you're getting, if you can get conversion rates like you're talking about from cold traffic using some of the tactics that you talked about in this webinar here, I mean, that
Yeah.
will just that will power your Facebook ads so much more. So I got
Oh,
a ton of ideas here, but
great. And then if you can get a lot of your traffic costs back, yeah, my goal, I was disappointed before because I wasn't getting, my goal was to get 110% of my Facebook traffic back, on day one. And I had a consult with Perry and, Perry Belcher saying, what am I doing wrong? He's going, man, you're not doing nothing wrong. Just keep doing what you're doing and do more of it, sort of thing. So I thought it was broken and, it was just my expectation that I should have got it all back on day one. But then the real secret sauce happened when I reworked my whole automation sequence and did the really good content on the blog and then the give ask and then Frank Kern taught us a campaign, like a thing called campaign stacking, where it's effectively the same offer but done multiple different ways. Like it might be a video one of it first and then a PDF of it and then that kind of stuff. And so getting those kind of things in place and what I was talking to you about, how the maths of it all adds up, that's really when you really, really get such an incredible machine going. If you do a good job of the sales copy of that, people are writing in saying, oh, you sent me an email, or you wrote to me yesterday about this, but it was like, oh, did I? But it was like an automated sequence, but it seemed like to them that I was writing, directly to them. So that bit's, I think it all compounds together.
That's the thing is we're seeing the biggest thing lately of people that are having success, not even on the back end like this stuff you're talking about, even on just the Facebook ads in general. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago with my coaching group, my Navigator high-end coaching group, and it's just amazing what happens when you do all the little things right and how it's a snowball effect and how they all help each other out. Like
Yes.
author who sold 14,000 books in June, and then they were of a series that she didn't expect to sell hardly any of, but it was all because of the Facebook ads she'd been doing and the content amplification, the video ads, and some of the other stuff for her other stuff over the past previous 2, 3, 4 months. And then it's like somebody will be like, should I do video ads? Well, if you just no, I mean, yes, you should do video ads, but don't like think that if you run a video ad campaign because we're all excited about it, it's going to be like the best thing in the world, and you're going to have this home run
Yep.
campaign. It the video ads work best when it's a complement of a link post ad and a content amplification campaign. Just kind of like you're
Yes.
talking about here, where it's sort of in a different way, but it's like when you start to really figure out 4 or 5 different things that are all helping the conversion on your landing page or home page, and then all of a sudden you have a machine just like the Bali retreat. That's a great example of something that
Yeah.
like a lot of people would have gave up
Yep.
thinking that the traffic doesn't work. But because you guys did so many different tests and continued to like, you know, up conversions by 50%, 100%, and you
Yeah.
continue to make all these improvements, all of a sudden now you have a machine.
Yeah, but yeah, like we said, it grew literally hundreds and hundreds of percent. That business owner, she's just so emotional about it. She says, you changed my life because she was just like any other yoga school of, how are we going to fill the next course? To now every course is filled to capacity. We missed over 3 years, we've missed one course that didn't get filled to capacity, and that was because they chose a location that no one wanted to go to.
Wow.
So it wasn't even really the marketing thing. That was just the market saying, supply and demand. They didn't want that. So yeah,
Wow.
layers upon layers of stuff, building perpetual motion. That's what yeah. And then we teach another thing because really, which is about profit maximization and then cash, maximization for the business owner. We started speaking about it initially because you can have in theory a whole bunch of profit in your business, right? But so say for example, I had in my books were looking good, but Ralph owed me 20 grand, which is in my receivables, and Keith owed me 30 grand, and that kind of thing. You can go broke with paper profit, but you haven't actually realized the money. So that's why we then got really, really good at focusing on how do we now, without even getting any more sales, how do we make this business more profitable, but even more importantly, more cash? Because we found that a lot of business owners are chasing the wrong goal. They're chasing the goal of sales, okay, which is great. And I used to be that as well. But then a better goal is how do we chase more profit? And then a better goal from that is how do we chase more cash? And then we've now got it down to what are the 10 levers in a business so that you can manipulate those levers and to figure out, how to engineer more cash. Sometimes you can, just by knowing what the levers are and how to manipulate those, you can put an extra 20 or 30 grand or whatever in your bank account by not making any more sales, just by getting paid faster and paying your bills slower. An example would be when your bills come in, most people they just pay them. Whereas when your bills come in, you should stack them in the order that they're due, and then put like a calendar reminder that I owe this bill to that company on that date, and that's the date that I pay it. You know what I mean? And just so you just get this big spread of stuff. And then if you're holding stock, you want to reduce your inventory days. And so some of our customers, instead of having 3 containers on the water, they've now got 1 container on the water, and they just freed up all this cash. So that's kind of the next level of complexity of the business stuff that we like to think about. But it really makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think if for anybody that wants to learn more from you, wants to get on a call, wants to possibly see how they can get work with you, get some coaching, what's the best way? Is it through those websites down below you got on your slide?
Yeah, just collective.com.au. I'd say check out. There's a heap of free stuff. Check that out. We're very like from a sales process, we only work with someone if it's a win-win. I've got a pretty good radar now. I can look at a business and tell whether I can accelerate it within sort of 5 minutes. If I feel I can't accelerate it, I won't work with that customer. Even they're begging, they're begging you sometimes to do it. And the reason why is because I'm a happy guy. Like my main focus at the moment is I'm really trying to get better at my surfing. So I'm sort of cruisy. I want to just enjoy my day. I don't want any stress. So I'm only working on projects that I know that I can smash. And happy customers then too as well. We've got no disgruntled customers, which is great.
Very cool.
That's a good goal. And you're working with a customer of ours now, which we're very thankful for, by the way.
Yes.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good. I think the stuff that we do complements each other, without doubt. So.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right, I'll see you guys definitely coming up in Austin.
Yeah, absolutely. So appreciate it, Greg. We'll post this in the group, and we'll have the recording up later on by tonight or tomorrow. And once again, we appreciate the awesome stuff. And
you're very welcome.
Surf if you're going surfing today.
I certainly am. All righty, have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Bye.